Are you living your life, or are you living the story you keep telling yourself about your life? Welcome, welcome to the Beyond the Story. I am Virginia Ross, and this is a space where we question the stories that shaped us so we can finally meet the person beneath them. And today, I want to ask you a question that has the power to change the way you see yourself. What if the story you call my personality wasn't entirely yours? What if you inherited it? Not because anyone wanted to hurt you, but because every generation passes something on to the next. Some family pass down traditions. Some passes down recipes. Some pass down eye color. And every family passes down stories. Stories. We aren't born believing that we are not enough, that money is scarce. We aren't born believing that love must be earned. No. No baby enters the world thinking people can be trusted, or success changes people, or don't cry, be strong, don't disappoint others. Those stories come later. They are learned quietly, repeatedly, almost invisible. Because let me tell you, when we are children, we don't question the adults around us. Never. We depend on them. And because we depend on them, we believe them 100%. And not because everything they say is true, but because belonging comes before questioning. A child never asks, is this belief accurate? No, he asks, what do I need to believe to belong here? And that's how stories travel from one generation to the next. We inherit stories in many, many different ways. Sometimes through words. People like us never get ahead. Life is hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. Or good girls don't do that. Or I'm sure you know that. Real men don't cry. And sometimes we inherit stories through silence. Maybe no one ever told you that your emotions didn't matter. But every time you cried, someone changed the subject. Every time you were afraid, someone says, oh, you are fine. And eventually, you learned that your feelings should stay inside. No one had to explain the story. You just lived it. And then the stories become so familiar that we stop calling them stories. We start calling them the truth. Or even worse, our personality. Like, I've always been anxious. I've never been confident. I'm just the responsible one. I am the people pleaser. This is in trend. I'm difficult, or I'm too emotional. And those are simply the stories you inherited. And here's something I've learned over the years. We inherit much more than beliefs. We inherit emotional habits, ways of reacting, ways of apologizing, ways of loving, ways of avoiding conflict, ways of speaking to ourselves. Sometimes we even inherit dreams that were never ours. And now think about how many people spend years chasing a career because it was expected. How many stay in relationships because that's what our family does? How many of you carry guilt that was handed to them long before they understood its weight? I remember asking myself one question that changed everything. Who taught me this? I didn't ask, why am I like this? But who gave me this story? And trust me, that question opened a door. Because once I realized a belief had been inherited, I also realized it could be questioned. And please hear this. Questioning a story is not rejecting the people who gave it to you, because our parents did the best they could with the stories they inherited. And their parents did the same. Most families don't pass on pain intentionally. They pass on what they believed will keep their children safe. And sometimes fear disguised itself as love, or control disguised as protection. Sometimes silence disguised itself as strength. Understanding that doesn't erase the impact, but it replaces blame with compassion. So, how we begin to rewrite the stories that no longer serve us? I'm telling you, not by pretending they never existed, no, or forcing positive thinking. We begin with curiosity. And I want you to ask yourself, what do I believe about money, about love, about success, about failure, about myself? Then, ask one more question. Who taught me this? And if you can't remember learning it, that's often because you absorbed it before you were old enough to question it. And let that sink in. Now the exercise for this week, I invite you to take a notebook. Write these 6 sentences. Money is. Love is. Successful people are. Relationships are. I am. Complete each sentence without thinking at all. Then look at every answer and ask, did I discover this through my own experience, or did I inherit it? Choose one belief that no longer serves you. Don't try to replace it immediately. Just become aware of it. Because awareness is where every new story begins. Then write it exactly how you want to live it right now. And before we finish, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. You are not responsible for the stories you inherited as a child, but as an adult, you become responsible for the stories you continue to live. That responsibility isn't a burden. It's a gift. It's a gift. Because if a story can be inherited, it can also be rewritten. Thank you for joining me today on Beyond the Story. And until next week, just remember, your past may explain your story, but it doesn't have to write your next chapter. And I see you in the next episode where we will explore what happens when a story becomes your identity. I love you all.